Come and get it, everybody. ChiroFEAST is online and we are ready to serve. All right, you guys. So we're gonna do a little bit of practice building today. So if you want to know where we're going for the next bit of time here, it's all about growth of a practice. Now, I will tell you that growth of a practice can be new patients coming into the office, or it can be keeping the patients that you have longer, or better yet, both. Okay, so that's where we're going today. And ultimately, we're going to spend all of our time in this series. I'm going to break this into two pieces here. We're going to be talking about how to keep people. Because it's kind of I don't know if really anybody really teaches this, and so I think it's not talked about enough. So we're gonna spend our time there. The 12 things that need to happen to keep people engaged in your office and under care. Okay, so I remember that um, a while back when a long while back, I was in chiropractic school. And I remember listening to a gentleman speak, and he said, you should never need new patients. If you take care of the people that you have and you teach them, educate them well, and you've got a wellness practice, you should never need new patients. Now, I, I agree with that and I don't, because you're always going to need some new patients. And to be honest with you, that's in my world, that's what's exciting to me is new patients. I love starting new people on care because there is an excitement and a just kind of a light bulb moment that happens for people when they first really understand what chiropractic is and what getting adjusted is and why they should be, correcting their spine and then maintaining their spine. And so that to me is super exciting. And there's so many people that don't know anything about chiropractic. There's so many people that are not under chiropractic care that I will tell you that you may not always need new patients, but you should always be taking them. And honestly, if your books are so full that you have a waiting list practice just with your wellness people, hire an associate, hire two associates, hire three, four, five, six. At one point, I had seven associates in my clinic. And so keep hiring to serve more people. That is my challenge to you. So this series, though, is going to be about the 12 things that need to happen in order to keep folks, in order to keep people. So let's get started. Let's talk about that. So if you want to keep people longer, if your PVA stinks, okay, and let's talk about that for a second. So PVA, what's a good PVA? Practice visit average. Uh, of all the people that I've coached over the years and whatnot, I would say that a good PVA is going to be 30 or better, 30 or more visits. Now, that PVA, what that means is how many visits will that person come to you before they drop off the face of the planet. Of course, this takes into account people that come one time and never come back to see their x-rays, or they decide that chiropractic's not for them or whatever. So they come one time and they never really start care. So it counts those people, but it also counts people like in my practice, I've got lots of people that have been to me over 1,200 times, 1,300 times. So, it's an average. Okay. So people that you're seeing, that's patient visits for that month or for that year or for that quarter, whatever, however you want to look at it, people for that month divided by the number of new patients that came in that month. People for that year divided by the number of new patients that came in that year. All right, that's your PVA. The average PVA in the country is about 15. So not so good, not so good. That means people are coming 15 times, and then they're leaving. So not great. Um, I've talked about some people that I coach. I've coached a couple of chiropractors. My practice partner, Dr. Shar, has a PVA of over 250. I've coached people with over 200 PVAs, but the vast majority are in that 25 to 35 range. My clinic historically, for my personal practice, historically has been in that 70 range, somewhere in there, which is excellent, but not as good as some. So let's talk about what those things are that need to happen in order to keep folks engaged and under your care. Because if you ask any chiropractor, how long are you going to get adjusted? Your answer should be until I'm dead. I'm going to get an adjustment every week or twice a month, whatever it might be, forever until I'm not on this planet anymore. So that should be your goal for everyone. If it's good enough for you, it should be good enough for everybody that you serve. All right. So number one, you got to be likable. I know that sounds, pretty basic, but you can't be an asshole. Okay, you can't be a jerk. There's just no room in our profession for chiropractors that are just narcissistic pricks. Um, Long term, narcissists are just jerks, arrogant jerks are not going to do very well. So long term, you can be really good as a chiropractor and get great results, and people will come to you in the short term. But are they going to hang with you if you're just a jerk, and just an arrogant cuss, and you're driving the fancy Corvette, and you've got a space reserved for you right up front? Um, mm, Me no likey that. So just be a little humble, and be likable. And I don't know, how do you coach somebody to be likable? I'm not sure, but maybe you got to just ask your staff sometimes, or ask your friends, ask some people around you. Do I have narcissistic tendencies? And do I have a tendency once in a while to be a jerk? And hopefully, if they're good friends, they'll tell you. But just a fresh reminder, at all times, to be humble. That doesn't mean be a pushover, or not be confident. You can be extraordinarily confident, but not be a jerk and not be a narcissist. Um, Now, if you think about it, heart surgeons. Let's talk about heart surgeons. Do you really care if your heart surgeon is a narcissist? Not really. You want them to do a really good job on your surgery. You want the best heart surgeon, because hopefully you're only going to go to them once, right? And have your heart surgery. So you really don't care that much how their bedside manner is. But that's not the case for chiropractic, you guys, because chiropractic is a relationship. Chiropractors have a relationship with their patients, and it's an ongoing thing. So, um, you can get away with being a narcissist prick if you're a surgeon or you see people one or two times. But you can't get away with that in a business that is reliant on people returning and building a relationship with you. Okay, so that was number one. Number two, the price is right. Okay, so now I'm not here to tell you what your cost per visit, what your price should be for a chiropractic adjustment. Today, as I'm recording this, I think it's March 15th, 2026. So take that into consideration if you're listening to this 5 years or 10 years from now. Um, right now, we can even run some numbers here, but the bottom line is, however the economy is doing, etc. Your price has to be affordable enough so that people can fit it into their budget. Now, I'm not saying you need to make an adjustment $10. And another thing you need to consider is, do you want to see families? Do you want to see everybody in the family? So, if your adjustment is $75 and it's a family of five, well, dad might come for $75 and maybe mom might come. Now it's $150, per visit. But what's going to happen when there's four people in the family and it's $300 or $375 for one visit? The whole family comes in, gets adjusted, and it's $375. How many families can do that once a month? And is once a month enough? Um, I would rather make less money per visit and serve more people and help more people, and allow them to get in at a frequency that allows them to stay healthy. So if you believe that the best frequency for people is, every other week on a maintenance basis, think about that as people are getting adjusted. So, let's, go with, two times a month for somebody. If twice a month is a good rate, maybe $50. So now they're paying $100 to come and see you. So a family of three is $300 for family of three. Now, in our office, we've always had a family plan. So you can discount that second visit, discount the third visit, fourth, or the second person, third person, fourth person, whatever you want to do. I have a family of 11 that comes and sees us. We've got a good rate for them. They come in a shuttle bus. So you gotta think about it. Your price has to be affordable for people to be able to do what you feel is best for them. But it needs to, it's an investment, and ultimately, um, you need to educate in such a way and teach people in such a way so that they value your adjustment. If they don't value it, if and I've had bad stuff happen in my practice. I had somebody that stopped care because they decided that they were going to do Pilates class, and they were going to use their money. They only had so much money that they were, set aside for health stuff, and they were going to drop chiropractic and start doing Pilates class. I tell you, that's a humbling moment when somebody says they're going to go do Pilates instead of getting an adjustment that takes pressure off their spinal cord and allows innate to function. I mean, that clearly I did not educate that person well enough so that they would make a wise decision about their health. And so there was some education that I left on the table, and they just didn't understand. So, um, educating and helping people determine the value of what you have to offer. If you're not doing that, then people aren't, they're not going to, choose to spend that money. So, but price has to be right. All right, number three here: educated about the consequences of not getting adjusted. What happens? And this goes right into your report of findings, honestly. So in your report of findings, um, you need to be educating people on the benefits of getting adjusted, but you also need to paint the picture for people about what happens if they choose to not start care, if they choose to say no, not yet with chiropractic, or I don't think this is right. Then and you haven't painted the picture of what's going to happen if they don't start care and correct their spine and get adjusted. If you don't paint that picture, that's on you. You have to, you are required to, because we know what happens when people go through their life without getting adjusted. We know the degenerative changes. We know the osteoarthritis. We know the curve changes and how people get hunched and those kind of things. So yes, you do need to tell people, look, the pain is only going to get worse if you decide to do nothing. these symptoms that you're having, even if they're a 3 out of 10 right now, these symptoms are not going to go away. It's only going to get worse. This deformity, this curvature is not going away. It's going to get worse. And it's going to start affecting the function of different joints. You're going to have a decreased joint function of your knees, your shoulders, your neck, your back. It's going to decrease your ability to do the fun things that you want to do. I mean, do you want to continue water skiing? Do you want to continue snow skiing? Do you want to continue playing golf, pickleball, whatever? Um, if you want to continue doing these sports or even gardening or cleaning your own house, if you want to keep doing those things, then you've got to do things in order to take care of your body so that your body can do them. That's just plain and simple. And if you see an issue with people's spines or what have you, and you're not educating people about what the consequences are if they don't start care, then you're messing up. You've got to, you hate to just go negative, and I'm not saying just go negative, but you got to do both. You got to paint the positive picture, but you got to also let people know the reality is if you do nothing, this is what's going to happen. And I know that's the case when I talk to people, or when I talk to my dentist, or other doctors and whatnot. Well, what if? I even do this with my car. So they give you 9 things that are wrong with your car, and I always ask, okay, out of these 9, I mean, is there anything that makes my car unsafe? That's the first question I ask. But then it's okay. Well, is there anything that I have to do now to keep things from getting worse? Or, is it, are there any things that we can put on the wait list, and fix it later? Because maybe I don't have $4,500 to spend on my car right now, but maybe I've got 2 grand. What can I do for 2 grand that's going to help me? So I do it with my car. So let people know these kind of things with their bodies too. Look, if you don't take care of this, here's the potential of what may happen with the disc, the ligaments, the muscles, the structure, etc. You got to let people know. So, and you have to tie in organ function to everything, you guys. If you're not talking about the big idea and the big picture with people, not just about back pain, you can't just stay there. You've got to communicate about the autonomic nervous system and let people know, look, this is the area that controls your immune system. If you don't deal with this, your immune system is going to suffer. And if you can't fight off, certain types of diseases and bugs, I mean, pneumonia and such, I mean, these are things that can kill you. So I'm not going to tell you not to get adjusted, or you can wait to get adjusted, because you should get this fixed so that your body can fight off any kind of bugs that are around and you're getting exposed to. Okay, let's see, what number are we on here? We're on number 4. Number 4, you've got to educate about the benefits. Okay, so we just talked about educating people about the negatives. What if you don't get adjusted? Educate people about the benefits. Okay, paint the picture. And here's, psychology plays a huge part in doctoring. I mean, if you really look at it, I mean, we always talk about the placebo effect in medical offices, psychology offices. It happens everywhere. It doesn't matter what kind of a doctor you are. There is some a validity to a placebo. When you paint the picture of what's going to happen when you start getting adjusted, you're going to start feeling better. You're going to start having better energy. You're going to sleep better. Your immune system is going to be stronger. You may still get sick, but you're not going to get as sick. And, you're going to fight back and win better, faster. You're going to move better. You're going to, perform better on the field. And these things are true. Okay. You're not talking about things that are false, or you're just, lying to people. These things are true. When your body is free of subluxation, these things happen. This is just the plain and simple truth. Now, if you don't believe that, then you got to double check whether or not you're in the right profession and check your philosophy because these things are accurate. So paint the picture for people. Let them know that, hey, when your body starts functioning better, guess what? You have less need for medications. Maybe you can even get off some of the medications that you're currently on, or at least reduce the amount of these medications. I mean, truly, I feel like chiropractors save the lives of people all the time just by getting them well enough so that they can decrease or eliminate medications altogether because so many people are so reliant on medications. We got to get people off of this stuff because those are the things, these chemotherapies, they kill people. It kills people. Hundreds of thousands of people a year die from the side effects of these medications. So if we can get people off of them, we're going to help people tremendously. They're going to move better. They're going to have better mobility. They're going to be able to do the things that they want to do. Okay. And sometimes you have to remind yourself that people don't necessarily care that much about back pain and neck pain. They care that they can do the things that they want to do. Okay. They care that they can golf with their buddies. They care that they can um, play with their grandkids. They care that they can be out in the garden. They care that they can, get out of bed without hurting. They care about the things that they want to do, not just the amount of suffering that they are putting up with. So just just remember that people need to know and be educated about those functions of those organs. I make it a habit when I do a report of findings, when I find a subluxation, let's say it's in the upper neck, I mention to people, look, this is the area where if people are subluxated, if they're out of alignment in this area, oftentimes their immune system is being affected. Um, they might have asthma. They might have chronic sinus infections. They might have ear infections. They might have thyroid issues, blood pressure problems. And when I list those things, what's common is that people will say, three of those things are things that I deal with. And they didn't even tell you because they didn't know that a chiropractor even helps people with asthma or allergies or sinus problems. But if you mention it, hey, people with a problem right here oftentimes have these things, they'll go, yep, all of those, or three of those, or two of those. And now you've connected the dots for people so they understand what that is doing. And then you paint that picture of, look, I would love to get you off your inhalers. Wouldn't that be cool? If a byproduct of you getting your neck feeling better is that you get off inhalers, how awesome would that be? And so you're painting that picture for people. All right, here we go with number 5. You must be a master listener. Pay attention. Be a good listener during your day one. Be a good listener on every visit with people. So, it comes up in studies all the time. What are your expectations for your doctors? I just want my doctor to listen to me. Just listen to what my symptoms are. Listen to how it's affecting me. Listen to, how this is keeping me from doing the things that I want to do. Don't just be staring at your computer, kind of typing away. Be intent. Be genuinely interested in my life. Make eye contact with me. Um, what the body language of a doctor should be that of somebody that is intently, genuinely, authentically caring about their patient and listening to what they're saying. And oftentimes, something that you can do is as you're listening, be taking notes. It's kind of a lost art these days with the whole medical profession. Man, they're just moving people in and out so quickly, and they're clicking it away on their computers. Sometimes they've got iPads and they're just taking notes and stuff in there. Whether you do it on an iPad, whether you do it on a laptop, or whether you actually use one of these things, it's called a pen. and you write on paper, um, you know, take notes, and then when you're done, say, let me just repeat this to you because I just want to make sure that I'm on the same page and we're together on this. So you say that your issue is X, and here's how it's affecting you, and here's what it's doing, and here's what your pain levels are. Repeat it back to them. I think that's good for you as a doctor to repeat it so that, you're kind of emblazing it into your head. You're also writing it down so that you can remember to put it in your notes and remind the patient down the road. But, one of the things that you're doing is you're basically showing the patient that you're listening. You're showing the patient, and oftentimes they say, oh, all of that is correct, but one thing I forgot to tell you is this. And so then they mention something else. Oh, perfect, that's important too. And you write that down. Okay, or you take that note. And it gives that conversation an opportunity to really gel and for that rapport to be built, because that's what it's all about, is you having that rapport. And that kind of goes right into the next one here, number 6, and that is, you must be genuinely kind. Okay. For you guys out there that are jerks, or if you are kind, but you don't show it, that's just as bad as you not being a jerk. Okay. You actually have to show it. You got to smile at people. You need to be genuinely kind. You have to have an authentic care for your brothers and sisters. You have to have an understanding of people's faults, their weaknesses, and their negative characteristics. I oftentimes, as I'm coaching young doctors, I talk to them about some of the jerks that we don't necessarily like as human beings. When they come in, they're just not nice people, um, and you got to love them too. And your ability to love the unlovable will determine how many people will come to see you. Because I've got some real jerks sometimes. And I don't have a lot of them in my practice, but there are some. And man, when they come in, your staff kind of rolls their eyes and they take a deep breath, and oh boy, here comes so and so. And sometimes it's hard because they're hard to deal with. They're hard personalities, and their character is just, it's tough. And maybe they say things they shouldn't say in the open room, and they just do things that are not very nice. And those are hard people to love. Now you got to draw that line. Okay, you got to have a line where if they're inappropriate in your office, you let them know. Okay, pull them aside. More than a handful of times I've had to pull people into a private room and let them know, look, here's what you said, here's how it made my front desk person feel. um, this is not appropriate, it's not acceptable in our office, and I need to know that you're committed to not doing that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to refer you to another chiropractor. So there are points when you have to lay it on the line, but you need to be genuinely kind to all people, and become interested in some of the things that they're interested in. I practiced for many, many years with a gal. I mentioned my practice partner, Dr. Shar. 27 years practiced with her. She can't stand sports. I mean, she hates sports. But guess what? She used to talk sports with people because a lot of people are interested in sports. Her husband is incredibly interested. He loves all sports. I mean, he's crazy about sports. And, she loves him, and she loves her patients that love sports, but, she doesn't know she thinks that there's a football bat. I mean, she doesn't know anything about sports. But, it's just fun to watch her interact with people talking about sports, because she genuinely loves the person and she just wants to be interested in whatever they're interested. So become interested in things that maybe you're not interested in, and expand yourself a little bit. It's okay. It's okay. It's all about building that rapport. Okay. So these are the things, these are the first 6 that we're going to mention here, and we will hit the rest on our next part 2. And so if you know somebody that needs to hear these things, if you know somebody who's struggling to keep people under care, tell them about this two-part series that we're doing. Share this with them. I mean, podcasts are meant to be shared, and this is a really good one. So, watch this one, listen to this over and over again. It's a good. This is a good podcast to remind yourself. Listen to when you're driving in to the office, or just take 15 minutes and listen to this. It will really ground you in the things that you need to do if you want to increase your PVA. If you don't want to work so hard on marketing, you've got to have people stick with you. So there you go, folks. Stay hungry, my friends. And as always, pay it forward.